טוב, שלום חברים, וובינר ראשון לשנת 2025, אנחנו בינואר 2025, and I'm excited to have and introduce Lauren Cohen with us. She's an expert in E2 visas. It is a field that is interested a lot of investors that are looking to migrate and do real estate in the United States, but doing it legally, and they have the option to be in the States for a long period of times and run their business. So Lauren, she's going to explain us all the important things in order to have this visa and how you can hold it and how you can extend it in order to enhance and extend your business in real estate. So Lauren, feel free to start and educate us.
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. You don't want me speaking in Hebrew, so I'm going to speak in English. And obviously, Ira and Michael can help with any translation that you need. You can also listen to the recording later, and then you can use ChatGPT to translate the whole thing if you want. So that's an amazing resource. So anyway, thanks, Michael, for having me today. It's happy secular New Year, everybody. I just pray that the hostages are freed soon. I'm sure you all saw the thing with what is it, Leela? Lee, oh my goodness. Yesterday it was so, I just saw it yesterday with the video. It was so awful.
Yeah, Lihi
Awful.
Albeg.
Yes, right. Albeg, yes. So actually, Zevi, my son has a friend with that last name. So anyway, all right. So let's get started. We have a lot of ground to cover, but really, what I think is going to be most beneficial for you guys is that Ira, my colleague, who's a U.S. and Israeli attorney, and we work together with a lot of my Israeli and other clients, for that matter, is here as a resource as well. So we'll be here to answer questions after the presentation. So hopefully you'll gain some insight here. Now, the difference between most immigration lawyers that you would connect with or you've seen and me is that I created a path to an E2 visa through real estate investing. It's called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate. And it's been a game changer. It's actually how Ira and I first connected because he was intrigued because most immigration attorneys will tell you it can't be done. And the proof is there because we have 100% success so far and counting. And we have created a really interesting streamlined model to allow people to access visas through real estate investing. So I always take a moment at the beginning of every webinar of silence in honor of the state of Israel, the hostages, the soldiers, the IDF, everything, all the people that have lost their lives. It's just awful. So if you could just join me for a moment and honor your home country and mine for that matter. Thank you. I've spent a lot of time in Israel, and I'm actually wearing a shirt with I was showing Michael before. I'm very, very deeply connected to Israel, and I'm actually going to the Nova Festival exhibit later today. So I'm with you in my heart, in my soul. I'm very passionate about helping Israelis and really believe that there's an opportunity for you, even if you just want some short-term peace over here in the U.S. Michael and I both live in a state where there's very little anti-Semitism. It's very pro-Israel, a very pro-Israel state down in South Florida. Everybody is raving about how amazing they feel when they come here. I'm originally from Canada, not the same situation up there. So, disclaimer, I'm an attorney, so I have to make this disclaimer. None of what I'm going to share with you is legal advice, but just general information. And I'm going to give you the opportunity at the end, and actually, I think I even put it in the chat now. Yeah, to set up a call with me at any time that you wish, and it's free for everybody on here. And it's usually a $400 call, so at least you'll get some value there. Anyway, sorry, I'll put it back in the chat later. So I am a Canadian living the American dream. I'm a cross-border attorney and expert. I'm a licensed realtor. I chair the International Investment Committee for eXp Commercial. I've written 4 books. I'm an immigration concierge. I quarterback the whole process. I've spoken all over the world, including in Israel. I'm an activist and philanthropist. I'm on the board of Jewish National Fund. We're building actually a baseball field in Beit Shemesh. My son is a baseball player, and I'm the mom to this awesome, sometimes, teenage son who's 14, and I have two awesome pups pretty much all the time. They're awesome. The son, not so much, right? But I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Some success stories. Yes, it was cheaper to work with somebody else. Glenn Sutherland on the top left corner is a very big Canadian investor in U.S. real estate. He actually has a podcast called The Canadian Investing in the U.S. Very successful, very influential. And he worked with me last year. We got his visa in January, actually, of 2024. Jay and Corey Fassett. I wouldn't work with anyone else when I need things done. I want them done right. Bo and Mila Kadic, they actually had a visa and came to me to fix everything because it was a complete disaster, and they did so in a short time with everything running smoothly. And Rodrigo and Luciana felt that I made all the difference in the world, and they're so excited they're moving to Florida in May. So, with the right visa, you'll access many benefits for you, your family, and your business. So we are here mostly to talk about the E2 visa, which in my book is called the coveted visa, which I think you all know what coveted means. That thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, right? One of the 10 commandments. Coveted means most desired. Looking really, really the top visa, I think, that's available to those from treaty countries, which fortunately Israel is a treaty country as of a couple of years ago, meaning that there's a treaty between the US and Israel that allows Israelis to access the US market and access visas to invest, live, and work in the US for their business. It's for investors and entrepreneurs that make a substantial investment in the US and build a business, and it allows visa holders to come and go without restriction. It's a great option for Israelis because you can invest in the US without making a permanent commitment. So it doesn't require you to be here full time. It doesn't require you to make a long-term commitment, but rather to create a business that allows you the freedom to go back and forth. You must own 50% of the business. It's a 5-year term that's renewable, and it's not a direct path to a green card, but we have many strategies available that we'll talk about a little later that can potentially allow you, with the right circumstances, to pursue a green card, which many of you would want. I look at this right now, especially with what's going on since October 7th, 2023. I look at this as a short-term solution that allows you some freedom. The client that Michael and I originally connected through has 2 middle school kids that are traumatized but by the sirens and having to go to the mamad and all of this. And so we're working diligently to get them the peace and freedom that they're seeking. And it's a quick and easy path. One thing to note, and I'm sure Ira will agree with me, so most of the time when you pursue an E2 visa, you go to your home country's consulate to conduct an interview. The beauty of the E2 is that in some cases you can go to other countries' consulates. Now, what does that mean? So in Israel right now, at the Tel Aviv consulate, there's a huge backlog and lots of issues. So when we have clients coming in from other countries, such as Israel, we send them either to Bern, Switzerland, depending on if that's easy for you, or to Toronto, which is my favorite consulate because that's where I'm from. And it's the easiest one to get an E2 approved. And we have 14 for 14 in Toronto approved with our amazing model that we'll be sharing. So it's called the
Just
third kind. Go ahead.
Lauren, just parenthetically, just to let you know that I currently have two E2s pending in Tel Aviv that are now going into their 18th week.
Holy crap. Yeah, it's crazy. So we want to
Yeah.
find a way around that, and going to Toronto is going to be the easiest solution, or Bern.
Going to Toronto meaning physically or going to Toronto just
Yeah,
to
you
apply?
have to go physically to wherever it is that you do the
Yeah.
interview. So it's a little less convenient, but it's a lot more efficient and a lot higher success rate.
How fast is it?
It fast within a month.
A month.
Once the visa is submitted, the interview process can be within a month. And as Ira was
Oh,
saying, they're doing
wow. A
2 weeks
month.
there. So yeah, 3, 4 weeks right now.
Wow.
Over COVID, it was insane. It was like 18 months, but now it's back to normal and they're within 3, 4 weeks. So it's a little, that's what makes it worthwhile. It's worth the flight to Toronto, right? To avoid having to wait forever
Yeah, a
and
month
deal
is
with,
amazing. Like just from
yeah,
applying to have the interview is
correct.
super fast.
Yeah, yeah. That's why we recommend going to it's called a third country approval or third country national approval, and that's why we recommend it.
In Tel Aviv, I guess
So
it's few months.
it's definitely a few months, and it's also a lot
It's
like
it's easily I lately I haven't seen anything less than 9 weeks in Tel Aviv.
2 months and a
but
half, approximately.
the
Yeah.
bigger challenge often is the problems that like it's
Yeah.
just a much more problematic consulate to work with. Toronto and Bern are easy. They know their stuff. They approve these visas by rote pretty much. As long as you have your ducks in a row, you're in there and out in 5, 10 minutes. Okay.
Wow.
The consul in Tel Aviv tends to be a snob, I should say, when it comes to the amount of investment. Also, I think that may be because they see a lot of high tech money coming in. So when somebody walks in with a few $100,000 as an investment, they kind of go, yeah, big deal. So they're very not considerate of anything that's not within the realm of a high tech investment. They really are almost nasty about it. If it's anything less than $250,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you're doing, like they're doing you a big favor, which they
Favor.
are.
Yeah.
Okay, remember, a visa, and I'm not gonna be able to translate all of these Hebrew messages, so you'll have to
No,
bear
I'm
with
going to
me.
translate them in the end.
Okay,
So I just
yeah,
want to make
perfect. Right.
the webinar fluent.
Yeah, so remember, a visa is a privilege, it's not a right. You don't have a right to live in this country until you're a citizen. Even green card holders, it's still a privilege. Okay? So you have to look at it from that perspective when you're going through the process. They don't owe this to you. You have to prove to them that you warrant it. And that's how we have to switch around the thought process, okay? We can't be arrogant about it. We have to be grateful and go through this process with the fact, knowing that they're giving you an opportunity to live and work in the US. So again, what are some benefits? You get a social security number, which is one of the biggest benefits. You can build credit and access financing. You can go back and forth freely, as I mentioned. You can access even if the borders are closed, like during COVID. You can remain in the US without restriction. Your kids can go to school. Your spouse can work. And this is important because we can choose which spouse is the applicant, and the other spouse gets the freedom to work. And even, as the last item here, get their real estate license and potentially work with buyers, sellers, and investors and attract others from Israel or wherever to invest in the US as well. So that's a big deal. Sorry, it's not moving. Sorry, I'm not sure why. More benefits. You can build your business and invest freely. You can establish strategic relationships. You access much lower tax rates and taxes, and you can potentially access an eventual green card and enjoy government program funding. Now, Michael, I'm sure you're familiar with 1031. Just so I
Yeah.
can share with you guys, this is actually very relevant to what you're doing when you're investing through Michael's program. 1031 is when you transfer, you sell a property and you buy a like in kind, meaning a similar investment property, similar type of investment property within a certain period of time, and you close on it within a certain period of time. And the beauty of it is that you defer capital gains on the property as long as you meet the requirements. This is available to anybody, but it will be discounted if you don't have an E2, meaning that the government in Israel will not accept it, so you'll end up paying one way or the other. With an E2, you can get around that. This slide, which is I'm going to share a resources page with you guys at the end. This is like a little cheat sheet that I created to show you all the different types of visas, including the E2. but also including green card options that are potentially available to you once you pursue an E2, or maybe if you have the qualifications to start with a green card option. This is available as a download, and I'll share it with you guys. It's a really great little cheat sheet to support you in your process. And it's kind of like if you meet these criteria, maybe there's a way for us to pursue this visa. Okay. So again, I'll share that link with you at the end. The right team is truly everything, because without the right team, you're going to have a lack of knowledge, inadequate due diligence, misaligned goals, and a lack of specialized skills. Now, Michael has the teams on the ground to do all of the renos and all of the property searches and everything like that. We can support you on the back end, making sure that all of what you're doing makes sense for the visa and is visa friendly as well as ROI friendly, return on investment. So you do have options, and our key option is, as I mentioned, real estate investing in the U.S. So how can you immigrate through real estate? Because we do call it the golden path. Real estate investing isn't just about buying property. It's about creating the right investment strategy, as I'm sure Michael is teaching you, and business plan, especially when a visa is the end goal. So our plan is to help you invest in real estate and achieve your American dream. But the lawyers said it couldn't be done through real estate. So how does SREI, strategic REI, work, right? Ira, this is when Ira and I originally connected, he's like, how do you do it? We separate the visa company from the real estate holding company. Okay? That's really the crux of how it works. And it took us 6 months to build this model. It's a holistic approach. Everything is included in the process. You're going to buy the real estate, you're going to convert it into whatever it is, you're going to do the rentals, you're going to build your real estate portfolio and potentially empire, and you're going to achieve a visa by working with us through this model. Okay, so we have two kind of models available. One is a very plug and play model that's like we create an investment holding company. We're a part of that investment holding company. We partner with you and build a model so that you can invest in pretty much anything. The other is that we build a customized model with you, which is what most of our clients choose to do because not everybody wants to invest in the same stuff. But either way, we have a holding company and a visa operating company and a real estate holding company. And you can include your real estate license as part of your business model. It's really up to you. It's at your discretion to develop this model with us and our coaching team to make sure that it's flexible, that it's sustainable, and that it's scalable. And maybe it can even lead to a green card. So the beauty of this is that you can apply for a visa with as few as 1 or 2 properties in your portfolio, which is awesome because that's what Michael's helping you find. And otherwise, you would need 8 or 10 doors to qualify, and that becomes cost prohibitive and a little bit of a headache. So our total estimated budget, including real estate down payments and fees. Now, of course, in many cases, I'm sure, Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong, most of your clients are buying properties cash, right?
Yeah, cash or financed by hard money.
Okay, perfect. So either of those works. Our total estimated budget, if you're financing, is about 200,000, including the real estate down payments. If you're not financing and you're buying cash, that's about the real estate. So that I don't know how much that real estate is, but most of the properties you're looking at are around 200,000, right, Michael?
It begins from 100 to purchase houses in a very decent areas.
Perfect. So you can definitely get this all done with a $200,000 total budget, including fees, including everything. And that's very, very doable. So we know that there are multiple types of real estate investments. The key ones that we like for this model are based on single and multifamily, Airbnb, BRRRR and flipping, and affordable housing. Now, affordable housing is when you create a property or you turn a property into an affordable housing property. We're going to talk about one example of that. But many of the properties that Michael is working with would potentially qualify under these 4 categories. So we like the affordable housing model because it's very much in the national interest. So the government loves it because they're like, oh, you're doing something that's benefiting the U.S. and having an economic impact. And oh, that's great. And here, Let me just stamp your visa and say, have a nice day. Come back when you're ready to apply for a green card. One of the models that I like, as I mentioned, is co-living, which co-living fits into affordable housing. Co-living is when you take a single family home and you turn it into a multi-bedroom unit, a multi-bedroom rental. So you could start with a 3-bedroom property and turn it into a 6-bedroom rental. How? You put walls up. You create, maybe you add a bathroom or two. You have shared, it's kind of like a kibbutz in a way, because you have shared facilities. In this case, mostly it's going to be kitchen facilities, and maybe there's a small family area, and maybe there's an outside area. But you share laundry, you share bathrooms potentially, and you share a backyard and pool if applicable. We don't love pools when this model. Yes, Michael, go ahead. You don't have to
One
put up your
question.
hand. You can ask
You
any
showed
question.
us several different types of real estate, and you want to have the focus about the co-living. There is a reason for that. Is that the type of real estate that is
Yeah, I'm going to
that has
explain
the
exactly what the
best?
reason is.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So the reason that I like co-living so much is, well, we're going to go get to that in a moment, but one of the benefits is that it is creating affordable housing. So it's a very easy story to tell the government when you're building a case for a visa or eventually a green card. Okay? But here's what co-living does. Let me just show you some of the benefits. One sec. Sorry. Co-living, where is it? Here. The benefits of co-living are that there's usually a low purchase price, as Michael said. You're looking at potentially 100,000 at a minimum. Better revenue than long-term rental, better revenue than short-term rental, high return on investment potential. Why? Okay, I'll tell you in a moment. Scalability, because you can scale it quickly. You can diversification opportunities because you can use that as your base to build out other types of real estate. Low vacancy rates because people love the price point of renting a single bedroom rather than a whole house as a quote Airbnb. Social aspect because they get to, socialize with others in the home, and it's visa friendly. Now, the most important part of that for most of you, other than being visa friendly, is that it has a very high potential return on investment. So if you look at this bottom, I guess second from the left, second from the right, you see that the one on the left where it says bedroom 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's how the property started. Bedroom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the right is how the property ends, that Michael would build out and convert this 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom home into a 6 or 8-bedroom rental. Now, normally, if you rent out this single family home, you're going to get maybe, I don't know, $1,500 a month, let's call it. Guess how much you get when you rent it out by the bedroom?
Can be
Or take a
doubled or
wild.
tripled.
It's at least triple, at least. Because you're renting it becomes, and the other part that's very important is long-term rentals are not visa friendly. This is super visa friendly because now you're managing multiple units in one home. So now remember, the reason that real estate is generally frowned upon for visas is because it's considered passive, right? We are turning a passive real estate investor, a passive real estate portfolio into an active real estate business. That's why the co-living model works so well. You can also have duplexes. You can also have multiple Airbnbs. But I just happen to have picked this co-living model because it's very unique, and Jacksonville happens to be a very popular place for these co-living models. Does that answer you, Michael?
Yeah, so this type of real estate has the best odds in order to be approved.
Yeah.
And I guess the one that is going to sign and approve this application, we like to see that I'm helping to the community by providing them affordable
Affordable.
housing in a low price.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. There is
okay.
one of the biggest challenges in the US today is affordable housing. It's a big problem because there's a
Yeah,
lack of it. So we're now
exactly.
creating it, and you're making money, and you're going to get a visa. It's a win-win all the way around.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, it's you're not targeting, Boca Raton. Like this would not work in Boca. It works in Jacksonville because you have more of a blue collar workforce. Still, people are seeking affordable housing. There's a lot more students. There's sometimes people seeking shorter term and longer term opportunities. Remember that Florida is very, very landlord friendly. One of the reasons that so many real estate investors choose Florida, right? We know this. That's why Michael is here. It's not, I mean, yes, granted, the weather helps in a big way, as we were talking about at the beginning, because we don't have to shovel any snow here. And I'm from Toronto. So believe you me, I've shoveled my fair share. And Ira is in, it's shoveling snow every few days, probably up in the Northeast, right? Can't hear you. You're muted.
I guess he is. Yeah.
I was just saying that it was 19 degrees today and
Oh
snow.
yeah, it's 19 Celsius here, and we're
Yeah.
still complaining. Michael's like, I didn't move here
Yeah.
for the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the properties, size matters. You don't want it to be too big because then it becomes like there's too many rooms. So maybe even 1,200 could work. Minimum 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but an ideal is 8 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. A pool just creates more problems. Sometimes you don't even want a dishwasher because it can break down. You want to minimize your exposure and your potential liability. There, you should be a good distance from the neighbors. So townhomes are not ideal because you want some space, right? And bungalows, which are single family homes, are better than two level because again, you're going to have more issues on a two-level home. You should not have older homes, but again, Mr. Aceto can help you with all of that stuff and converting the properties. So the players are the owner, property management, and a digital platform to manage the process. And again, I talked about the benefits for investors, but for residents, it's more affordable. There's flexibility in lease terms. You can have a ready to move in space, and your sense of community and networking will be enhanced. So co-living, in my opinion, is a growing sector with significant opportunities for investors seeking innovative, high-yield properties, and the market is driven by demographic trends. With the right strategy, it can offer great immediate and long-term returns, and it's a potentially great option for those seeking E2 visas and maybe even green cards. We don't need to go through the success stories again, but I know a lot of you want to know about how to get a green card if you're on an E2. So there are many paths. I don't want to super confuse you guys too much, but suffice it to say that what we try to do at the beginning is figure out if there's a path to a green card for you so that you don't get an E2 without a plan for the future. So we want to look at your short-term goals as well as your long-term goals, figure out your budget, figure out your eventual like what you want to do with your family. Do you have a family? And we'll go through some Q&A again and as well as some frequently asked questions in just a moment. So there are many options. Additionally, if you're married, your spouse potentially could be sponsored by his or her employer. So that's another option as well. Um, so that's great. So why choose our team? Well, I mean, we have decades of experience in U.S. investment, immigration, and strategic solutions, an unparalleled success rate. We create personalized strategies, custom tailored to your needs. As I mentioned, do short and long-term goal planning from the beginning, and we determine the most viable renewal or green card path for you. So these are some common questions. We don't need to worry about if you're from a non-treaty country because everybody here is Israeli. If you have an immediate family member who's American, okay, so this I get a lot. So does anybody know, other than Ira, how long it takes for anybody except for the U.S. child of a non-U.S. parent to sponsor? So in other words, if I was to sponsor my brother, how long does that take?
10 to
If
15
Ira,
years.
pardon me?
10 to 15 years.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Now, the only exception to that is when an adult child sponsors a parent, like I did for my mom, who then gave up her green card, but that's another story. That takes 6 months, let's say. But anybody else is between 10 and 15 years. So it's a long process. So a lot of times I've had many clients that are in the green card process that come to get an E2 so they can get in much more quickly. And that answers the third question. Healthcare, there are options. Don't be scared. I work with so many Canadians and it's a very big deal, but it's not as bad as you think it is, and there are always options. Currency exchange, we have some great currency exchange partners. The Canadian dollar just went to like $1.47, which is the low, I think it's the lowest in 20 years since I converted my money, which was the lowest ever. Thank you very much. How long does this whole process take? We can do it within 3 to 6 months, especially if you already have a property that you've invested in. But it's very, very, very important to understand something. I'm sure many of you buy the properties in your personal name. We will, if you already own property, we will have to change that into our structure that we've created so that we have a couple of entities. There's usually two for Israelis, so that you're not subject to double taxation and legal liability, and you need an entity with a tax ID to be able to access a visa. So again, we handle all of that for you. What if I want a green card? We talked a little about that. Is your whole family included? Yes. So your spouse and your children up until 21 are included. What happens when they turn 21? Well, that's not a great situation because unfortunately they are what's called age out. So if you want a green card, you should get it before they're 21, or you can make them a partner in the business. Can I still live in my home country? Yes, you don't have to live here, but I'm working with a lot of Canadians, so it's a lot easier than working with an Israeli who can go back and forth. You know, Canadians can just drive. It's a bigger deal if you're from overseas. You don't have to live in the country as long as you can prove that you're directing and managing the business. Can you include existing properties? Yes. As I mentioned, we just may have to change the ownership. Can you buy a home and get a visa? No, you can't even spend a $10 million on a home for yourself and get a visa. It doesn't matter how much you spend. That's your personal use. You have to create an investment portfolio. And can you use your vacation home? As long as you're no longer using it as a vacation home, you can put it as part of your investment model. So I'm going to be super honest. If you don't take the first step, you'll be stuck in the same place indefinitely. So take the next step to create lasting change in your life and set up a call with me. And as I said, I'm going to put a link in the chat so you can set that up at any time. And if I can grab Ira to come into the call, I will do so. He's very generous with his time. And these are free for all of you guys because you're Israeli and I want to help you. So diverting the investment from the LLC. Well, again, if they already have an LLC, then we can possibly make that
Can we start
LLC
from the
part
top,
of.
Lauren? I'm sorry, I'm stopping you. Can we, if you finished, I want to go back to the questions and start from the top.
Sure. Okay. Whatever you
Okay.
want. Yep. I'll stop
Okay.
sharing.
Yeah. Okay. Hassan is asking.
יש הבדל בין מדינות הגשת הוויזה הפדרלית. No, it's all federal.
Oh, he knows Hebrew. Yeah.
It's all federal, okay? אם יש הבדל הקלות, איזה מדינה הכי שווה, which state is the best?
Ah,
Okay,
Florida.
that Florida. I happen to agree with that. Yeah, Florida is the
When do
best.
you
But
mean
there's a
which state
reason. So
is the
let's
best?
just not.
Meaning, my business should be in
הכי
Florida in
שווה,
order
הכי
to
קל.
improve.
Bureaucracy, taxes,
Everything.
everything, everything.
Landlord friendliness,
Yeah.
access to properties, property prices, everything generally, it goes kind of like this in terms of my preferences. Florida, Texas, Arizona, maybe North Carolina, Michigan, Ohio. And one thing to remember is you can live anywhere in the US and invest anywhere in the US. You don't have to live where you invest.
I'll
Okay.
give you an example. I'll give you an example. Okay. In New York City, okay, which has, very high rents and, very prestigious properties. Okay. No matter who you are, if you want to kick a tenant out, okay, I wish you a lot of luck.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Even a commercial tenant, because it will take you, okay, easily, okay, 12 to 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's if you're lucky. And that could be your tenant, by the way. I worked in real estate earlier in my career. That is, your tenant set the building on fire. Okay. You still can't kick them out immediately.
Well,
Okay. That's why Florida, yes, absolutely. Florida is the best place.
And we're here. And the weather's nice too.
Yeah.
So
Okay, do you want me to read the questions or you want to go for it, Ira?
Go ahead, please, Michael.
No, like, it's better just, you want me to repeat them and translate them? Okay, Hassan is asking, are you a general lawyer or you're like working only with E2 visas? Like,
you mean, do we handle
like
all
working like
types of immigration?
marriage visas and
Yeah,
L1?
all of them. Yes.
All of them. Okay. Okay. Does it any minimum amount of investment to be qualified for this visa?
That's what I suggested, and maybe the question was before. We recommend so there are obviously we have a fee, which is generally 100,000, but that's not the case for you Israelis, and we do have this more streamlined model. Our total budget, including the down payments that we recommend, is 200,000.
200,000 in order like to say, hey, I invested 200,000 in real estate and then I want to apply for E2 visa.
Yeah, pretty much. Real estate and service and professional services, yes.
Professional services can be
Remember,
like
though,
what?
that this is down payment. So if you're buying the properties outright, your budget is going to be a little higher because each property is 100,000 minimum, right? So you might be looking more at maybe 250, but you're not looking at a significantly higher investment. It's not 500,000. So there's always a way to work it out.
It
מיכאל,
could
אתה
be
יכול
like
להסביר את...
multiple houses. Like I can purchase multiple houses. The total sum of the total investment have to be at least 200,000 in order to be
Yeah.
in order to
So
apply.
about, let's call it 150 out of your pocket. Okay.
Oh.
Now, the properties can be worth a lot more. That's why I'm saying. So if you're buying them for cash and they're 100,000 each, you might need to have 3 of those, right? At 100,000 because they're low price point, depending on what you're planning to do with them. However, if you're buying them and you're financing them, you could buy 3 properties at 100,000 and only invest a total of 90,000 at 30%, right? So it really just depends on if you're financing or you're buying cash. And so that's why we have to come up with a strategy for each of you individually.
Financing meaning like if I'm about to purchase a house in 200,000 and I'm putting like 10% out of my pocket and the rest is going to come from hard money, how they're going to relate that?
So hard money is different than financing because hard money usually gets paid back relatively quickly, like once the renos are done, right? So that again, I don't want to give a blanket answer. All I can tell you is that out of your pocket, I'd like to see 200,000 total.
Out of the pocket, meaning not to include any financing, short-term financing.
Correct.
Like literally out of my pocket, coming out like towards the investment itself. Okay.
Correct.
חסן, מה רצית לשאול?
האם אתה יכול לתרגם את זה רק כמו שדיברתם כמה מינימום השקעה בעברית?
כן, היא אומרת שהמינימום השקעה מבחינת הסכום שאתה מוציא מהכיס אמור להיות 150,000 דולר לפחות, עם עדיפות ל-200,000 דולר כדי להיות כשיר להגשה של הוויזה הזאת.
אבל 200,000 דולר לקנות נכסים או ש200,000 דולר...
200,000 דולר שיוצא לך מהכיס, אתה יכול לקנות ב-200,000 דולר נכס אחד, 200,000 דולר מזומן, או לקחת 200,000 דולר ולחלק אותם לארבעה נכסים, לשים בכל נכס 50,000 דולר, ואז סך הכל המצטבר שלך out of pocket על הארבעה נכסים זה 200,000 דולר. אבל הם רוצים פה לך מהכיס 200.
They want you to show that you are vested and invested in the U.S. And to do that, we want to show that you have money invested here already. So that's why we set that budget.
עדיף כמה נכסים.
עדיף כמה נכסים. אוקיי.
וזה על בטוח, נכון?
She says that they have 100% of success, so I guess she knows what she's talking about, but she wants to see that היא רוצה לראות שאתה מוציא מהכיס שלך 200,000 דולר, על מנת להכניס אותך למסלול שכנראה הולך להבטיח לך את הוויזת E2.
קניתי נכס ב-200,000.
חסן, אתה נקטע, אני אמשיך עם השאלות, רק תחדש את החיבור שלך. Hassan is asking, the visa is renewing every 5 years or 2 years?
Yeah, it's 5. Isn't it 5, Ira, or is it sometimes 2?
The visa itself is 5 years, but you have to exit the United States every 2 years, and you go back in and you get a new I-94
Yeah. Mhm.
for another 2 years.
But they don't
Is
have to
that
go back to Israel.
is that
No.
it should be any specific gap in between the exit and entrance? So I have to go in 2 years. After 2 years, I have to go for one day, 1 week, 1 month, and then come back.
You have to go before your I-94 expires. Okay, your initial I-94 expires. Okay, and you can go for a day.
I'll go for
Come
a
back.
day and then come back. So basically, I can live here for 5 years, but I have to go out for at least one day, then come back. Then I can go out, let's say, for Canada or Mexico, and then come back for
Absolutely.
24 hours
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stay here for
You can
5
go to the
years.
Bahamas. Yeah.
And stay here for 5 years.
Correct.
That is amazing. Somebody that wants to build a portfolio or want to have real estate as a main source of work for him, it's awesome to
Correct.
stay for 5 years and just go for one day and then come back. You can just run your business. You can go for a vacation.
Correct. And after 5 years, you can then renew.
5 years.
Renew.
Okay. So out after 2 years, but I can be here in general 5 years, but every 2 years I have to go out. That's amazing.
Correct.
Now, wait, let me ask you a question, Michael. Are any of your clients already here, or are all of them in Israel?
That is going to be one of my questions. Some of them are already living in the States, and
Yeah.
I wanted to know if in order to apply, I have to be out of states, or I can be in states in, let's say, in a tourist visa and then apply along the way.
Either way. There are
I can be in the
different.
States with a tourist visa and then apply for the E2.
You
Yes,
can
but
be in the States with a tourist visa, but only after a certain amount of time can you change status. What's called changing status.
3 weeks, 3 months.
Generally 3 months. Yes.
3 months.
Okay.
Amazing, because
And
I was sure that you have to be out of states in order to apply now.
But the problem
But-
is that if you
Yeah.
do it this way, you have a travel restriction, and that change of status is only 2 years. So eventually, to get full status, you have to go out and do the interview.
Okay.
So yes, you can do it from here, but it's a restricted
The
visa.
minute
So
you leave the United States after those 2 years, you're going to have to go to the consulate wherever that may be. Hopefully in Toronto and not in Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to have to go through the whole process there.
Yeah.
Okay. Hassan is asking if I'm going to apply for a realtor license.
You
Is
can't
it
do
going
that till
to help?
after. Yes. Well, here's how it works. So one of my special programs this year actually is all about getting your real estate license in the US. I'm a realtor here and I have been for 18 years. So yes, anybody, once they have their social security number, can get their real estate license. However, you can't work with buyers, sellers, or investors. You can only get referral fees unless we build the real estate license into your business model, which is one of our special secret sauces, let's say. So when we're building your real estate business, we build in the need for a real estate license into that business so that you can access it. Or we make the spouse the visa holder, and then the other spouse can get their real estate license freely. So
Amazing.
again, it's all about creating a strategy for you, because there's always going to be answers and solutions.
Okay, I want to go back to the green card path. What is the time range in order to have it, and what is the guidelines in order to have a visa E2 until I'm going to get a green card, and obviously in the future have a citizenship?
So green cards are much more complicated because there are different types of green cards. Now, if you have a master's degree that is in some way connected to your real estate business, which we would build that connection, then you're going to be able to potentially do what's called a national interest waiver green card. If you don't, you're going to have to find another path. Okay, so we don't know how long each of these paths takes. The national interest waiver is the easiest and quickest path, but not everybody has some type of a master's degree, right? So we have to create a strategy for each of you that makes sense for you. Sometimes it's going to be expanding your business. Sometimes it's going to be your spouse being sponsored. It just depends on what your specific circumstances are.
אוקיי, גיא, אתה רוצה לפתוח מיקרופון או שאני אקרא את השאלה שלך? גיא דנקור.
כן, יש לי שתי שאלות. So, does it matter if my company based on, let's say, Texas, and I'm doing business in Florida, in Indiana, any other state?
No, you can get this with a business anywhere as long as the business. So you can have your entity set up anywhere. It doesn't matter. But what we need to make sure of is that the structure follows the structure that we create that's allowed us to have the success, right? So if you have, let's say, an LLC in Indiana, we can maybe put that, we build an organizational structure, and that's why the government likes it, okay? Because it's not just one company. They see this org structure, this org chart that we create, and they're like, oh, this guy is serious. He's not just trying to get a visa, he's actually building a business. So as long as that we can fit that in, there's going to be a way, yes.
So if I have multiple LLC, it's advantage.
It's not an advantage. It will save you a little bit of time because you won't need to get the tax IDs, but the employer identification numbers, but you'll still need at least one for the visa operating company that we need to set up. So it's not going to save really much, but at least you have some process in place. So it's going to save you a little bit of time. Certainly, if you have investments, that's going to save time as well.
Okay. And I have another question.
Sure.
Let's just make it clear. Flipping houses is a good reason enough, for this?
No,
So
not
let's
on
say
its own.
okay, sorry. So let's say I bought a house, 50,000, and I rehab it another 100,000 out of my pocket. So is it good reason enough, or I need
No.
to show more than that?
Yes, we need to show more than that. We need to put that as part of your bigger business model. Okay, we're building a business plan for 5 years. So that property, we always recommend that every client has at least one property in their portfolio at the time of application. If you've already flipped that property, we can put it as part of your business, but you'll still need another one to be in your portfolio. So you could eventually sell that property as long as it's there when we apply. And in the business plan, we have to plan for more. It can't just be one flip a year. That's not going to work. It has to be a bigger business than that, which is why we work with each client individually to create that model. So flipping might work with a co-living space, let's say. I have a client now who does, I think he's doing like 4 flips a month. Now, 4 flips a month is more than 1 flip a year. So 4 flips a month could potentially work because it's volume. Remember, we have to show a story about the difference between a passive real estate investor and an active real estate business owner. It's only the active business owner that's going to get a visa, not the passive investor.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, you have to have at least one property for buy and hold, and it's better to have something that is related to affordable housing, meaning I'm creating more options for rental in the state.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty much.
Okay, that was really clear. Hassan is asking, do I have to have an employees? Like, do I have to pay?
That's what we're gonna again build with you.
With pay stubs and somebody that I'm paying him in a regular base.
Yes. There's always employment requirements attached to an E2. You'll have to build that into your business model. So again, we have a more of a plug and play model that we're going to tell you this is what you need to do. And then we're going to be participating in that business. It's like a license option, or we custom build a business that is 100% yours. In that either one, we have to hire people. And they can't just be that you're hiring a VA from the Philippines. You have to hire Americans. And it's 2 to 5 over 5 years. So it's not like you have to have them all on day one, but you have to build a business plan to hire 2 to 5 employees over 5 years.
There is a minimum wage that I need to pay?
No. Whatever the minimum wage is in the state is what's the minimum
But
wage.
I have to provide pay stubs and all the other Social Security and everything in a regular base and show, hey, I'm creating more source of employments in the United States, and
Yes.
I'm also providing affordable housing and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But
It's
again,
like
we're going to
2 to
help you with
5
all of this.
yeah, 2 to 5.
You don't need to worry about who or how. We're going to help you.
Okay, amazing. David, do you want to open your microphone? David
Oh, I
אורן?
see lots of questions from David.
Yeah. דוד, אתה רוצה לפתוח מיקרופון? David. טוב, I will read the questions
Okay.
instead. Is it helpful that I have an European citizenship to get the E2 visa? Is it easier to get the visa with a European citizenship?
No, it's easier to go to Toronto. That's my answer. No matter what, it's always easier to go to Toronto.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and does the fact that I have an American daughter and have
How
been
old is your
living in
American daughter?
Say again?
If she is an F1, that means she's a student. So I doubt that she's able to prove that she could support her parents. And until she can prove that, she can't sponsor them.
אוקיי. דוד, מקווה שענו לך על השאלה. אוקיי. I want to repeat again on the diverting the investment from the LLC. Can you repeat about that because it was unclear for me? Like
So most of your
how you're going to
clients
do
here-
it and how it's going to help me.
So most of your clients set up entities to own the properties at this time. They're not owning them personally. Is that right?
Most of them are holding them under LLC.
Okay. So what we do is we take that LLC and we put it into our model so that you have that LLC becomes part of your org chart. Okay. If you don't have an LLC, we're going to transfer your property into an LLC, quit claim it from your personal name into an LLC. As long as the LLC is set up properly and you have a proper operating agreement, we should be fine to keep the property in that LLC. It really just depends on who set it up, how it was set up, because one thing to be very aware of, and this is an unfortunate thing that happens, just setting up a company, let's say through Sunbiz, does not create a true entity. To have a true entity, you need to have all the legal agreements connected with that. And this is a really big challenge that we face. So don't worry, if you have an LLC and you set it up, we'll create those agreements after the fact. It's not a problem. It's just that we need to know what the situation is with that particular entity because it doesn't really exist without those documents.
Okay, so we need to separate the LLC from what?
The visa entity.
The visa entity.
There's going to be at least 2 companies, at least, and usually more. But there's at least
visa
2.
entity under LLC, an LLC company that is holding real estate?
Right. But oftentimes there's also a third entity that becomes kind of the holding company up here. And so there's going to be 3 companies that are all interconnected in this org chart, right? There's going to be a visa company, that's the visa applicant. There's going to be one that owns property, and maybe there'll be a limited partnership up here that acts as the holding company. And then you're going to put all these LLCs as you invest. I think it was who was it that was asking the question about a guy or something about investing in multiple states? You'll put them all through this particular holding company.
Okay, understood. גלעד, אתה רוצה לפתוח מיקרופון? גלעד?
כן, שומעים אותי?
כן.
Hi, Loren.
Hi, Guy. I love how all the Israelis say Loren.
Loren, try to say my name. That's even harder.
Guy?
Gilad.
Gilad.
No, we're good. I have a quick question just about a portfolio I personally own. Let's say
personally or in an LLC? Aha.
Under LLC. All of
Okay,
them are
okay,
under one LLC, but my
okay.
question is, generally speaking, if I wanted, all of them are long-term rentals, and some of them are 1,500 and more. And I was thinking even before this webinar to transit some of them to pad split, and some of them are currently under Section 8.
Okay.
Will they qualify as the first steps to the E2?
Yes. The short answer is yes. As a matter of fact, we did a Section 8 presentation a couple of weeks ago, and Section 8 and co-living work very, very well together. Now, I know that you guys call it pad split. Pad split is their trademark name. It's actually the official title of the type of investment is co-living. Pad split is their trademark. So that's why I don't use it. But that's just to clarify. So yes, absolutely. We could convert some of those long terms into co-living. And how many do you currently own?
I currently own 10 doors. So like 4 of them
You're
are
good. You're
Section
good.
8.
We'll build a business model around it, and that will save you having to find the properties to get started. And then we'll leverage the existing properties to potentially access more, or even better, we'll use those 10 and we'll say we're converting them into co-living to create affordable housing, and that's our business model.
Right. And what about a combination of pad split and Section 8? Will that
Yeah, it's
work under the
perfect. It's a
same?
perfect combination because they're both affordable housing. It's my favorite combination.
All right. And the amount of investment out of pocket, like we spoke before, all of them are refinanced. So, I
That's
mean, I
okay. How
bought them
much
like,
money did you put in total out of your pocket?
so I bought them like 6, 7 years ago. Do you count like the equity inside them, or actually the money
No,
I
we're
bought
gonna
them
we're
like
gonna
15?
count what yeah, we're gonna look at all those properties and figure out what amounts make sense to count toward. Now, I want to clarify. It's not the real estate investing that matters as much as what you're doing with it. So, you could buy a $5 million property or a $50,000 property and still have the same opportunity just because the 5 million is showing a different type of return. Okay. So it's all about like if you have 10 properties, we're going to put them into a model that makes sense that we can build a 5-year plan around them to make them as lucrative as possible and have you leveraging them. You can refinance them. It's not a problem. And you could have had them for multiple years. It's just about putting them into the right structure and the right business strategy to allow for the visa for them to be visa friendly.
All right. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Okay, Hassan is asking if I have a F1 visa, can I apply for a social security number?
That really depends on the institution
Yeah.
that he's at. If they allow the person to work under the F1, then yes. If they do not, then no.
Okay. Norberto, do you want to open your mic? Norberto? Where is he? Yeah. Norberto, feel free to ask a question. We don't hear you.
I hope now is better.
Now is better. We can hear you. Yeah.
You spoke about Florida, saying it's one of the easiest, but in your slides, you also spoke about Texas and Arizona. So are they the same level, or would it be difficult?
There's no difference in terms of what's better for immigration. It's only what's better for your investment portfolio.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All
In other
right.
words, and also just to point out, the point that I was making was basically in most cases these days, because of bureaucracy and taxes and things like that, stay out of the Northeast.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
And well, if I intend to now, I open the video. Sorry,
Hi.
yeah, hi. So you said also that I can invest in Texas and actually apply from Toronto. It's no problem.
No problem.
Problem. The second question was about if you can share with us cost of your service, or is
Yeah.
it confidential? Thank you.
No, it's not confidential. Let me pull up a slide, which I don't know why it wasn't in the thing, but maybe we can go into the next question while I'm pulling this up so I can go through how this looks.
Yeah, you had another question, Norberto, about the cost of service.
This is what I said, yes.
Oh,
Okay, just give me a minute. I don't know why it's not pulling up here, but hold on. Is there other questions in the meantime?
Yeah, there is another question of David. דוד, אתה רוצה לפתוח את המיקרופון או שאני אקרא ממקומך? You were talking about the cash investments of 200K. I'm buying properties cash, but then refinance. I think you replied to Gilad about that, meaning
Yes.
they are going to calculate the equity inside.
Well, it's not, I don't want to give a blanket answer like that, okay? Because every single person, it's going to depend on your portfolio, how you set it up, when you set it up, what you invested, and what you're planning to do with it. So I don't want to give a blanket answer about it being about the equity because it may not. It may be about more than that. So just set up the call with me and let's talk about your specific stuff, especially you, Gilad, because there's obviously a significant portfolio and you can refinance. You can continue to refinance. That's how you leverage, right? So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Norberto, let me go through this with you, and everybody for that matter. So we have set this up as a 3-phase program. Okay, this is for the customized option, which is our kind of number one differentiator. So in our customized option, we have 3 phases, all the pre-visa planning, which is all of the coaching and the structure and the setup and everything about what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What properties do you have? How do we convert them? How does this all look? What is the entity? What are the entities? How are they set up? Everything that goes into all of the planning prior to developing your actual business plan. Phase 2 is the actual business plan, which is the single most important document that goes into any visa application. And it's a 5-year business plan. Remember, it's a business plan. You have to intend to honor it, but you're not married to it. Like you have to do every single thing it says. But you also don't want to make promises that you don't intend to keep. That's what we build with you. Phase 3 is when Ira comes in, although he's kind of there throughout the process answering questions, but Ira comes in and helps with us crafting the actual petition, doing the source of funds, figuring out where all your money came from, and doing all the interview prep for your interview in Toronto, okay? Not in Tel Aviv. So what's included is pretty much everything except the real estate. So it's a comprehensive full service program. Now, I mentioned at the very beginning that our retail price for this, for anybody that comes in, is $100,000, including and setting up your entities, everything. But you guys talk to me and we will work out a price that is amenable to you because you're Israeli and I know how you operate and I operate the same way and I'm here to help you. So don't let the price deter you because we'll work out a price that makes sense. And even if we have to cut back on some of the customization, the reality is this is going to be your only way to get a visa through your real estate investing. And again, everything is included in this, okay? Yeah. So there's nothing that's not included except filing fees. And the reason we don't include that is because we never know how many kids you have or how many people there will be involved. So that's the only thing that's not included.
So the cost of you and Ira is 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Retail.
Okay.
Not Israeli price.
Hassan, Lorraine is going to leave her contact info. I think she had her phone number in the bottom of the PowerPoint.
I'm going to give you my direct phone number, guys, which I don't do for anybody except my mishpacha, okay?
So, חסן, יש לך פה את כל הפרטים, אתה מוזמן ליצור איתה קשר ולברר על כל האופציות שעומדות לרשותך כדי לקבל ויזת E2. It was a great webinar.
מה העלות של זה?
Excuse me?
את השאלה, חסן?
מה העלות של ויזה? E2 ויזה.
השירות שלה עולה $100,000.
Pardon me?
He was asking what is the price, what is the cost of your service?
Oh, we just went through that. Retail.
Yeah, I just explained him. $100,000, חסן.
Yeah. Let me tell you, David, I see that you put your daughter as 2. That's never going to work. And she's going to you're going to have to wait till she's 21 to be able to apply for you at least. And then she's going to have to show that she can potentially support you. So that's what I had to do for my mom. So you're way off from that. So you need to get an E2 in the meantime.
Hassan is asking, is the $100,000 can be part of the total investment?
Yes,
That
it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the beauty of this. And that's why
Oh, really? Like paying for your service can be part of the total amount that is
Correct.
being asked in order to
Yes.
apply for the E2 visa. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
That's amazing. אז הנה חסן, מה שאתה משלם בתור תשלום לעורך הדין נחשב כחלק מהדרישות לקבלת הוויזה, וזה יכול להיות חלק אינטגרלי מהבקשה שלך.
$100K for lower and $100K for house. Is this okay?
Like this, okay? Kacha, because we don't know. So that's our estimate, okay? We don't know what you own. We don't know what you want to buy. We don't know how much it's going to be. But we estimate that because that could allow you to buy up to 3 properties with a $30,000 investment in each of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
The $100,000 can be divided for 3 and you can purchase. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
אין תשובה ברורה, חסן. עדיף שיהיה $200,000 על נדלן, $100,000 הולך ללורן ואירה כחלק מהשירות שהם נותנים, והם יכולים לעזור לך בקבלת ויזת E2. אבל אני ממליץ שתדבר איתה באופן אישי, תספר את הסיפור האישי שלך, והיא תוכל לעזור לך אינדיבידואלית. Great webinar, I learned a lot. יש לכם עוד שאלות חברים, אפשר לפתוח מיקרופונים, הזדמנות לדבר באופן ישיר עם לורן.
Just send me a message on WhatsApp. I'm really truly like one thing you'll find about me and Ira for that matter, which is part of why we work so well together, is that we're here for you. And it's not like a typical lawyer where you have to wait days and days to get a response, especially because you're one of us and it makes a big difference to me to help you guys to find some peace. And this is kind of my whole raised I don't know how to say it in Hebrew, but it's why I'm here. It's the MS of what I'm doing, right? So
And you mentioned that you are giving like 10 minutes of consulting.
I put it in the chat again, and Michael, you can share that link. I'll put it in your WhatsApp. You can share with anybody.
Yeah, send me everything through
Really?
WhatsApp. I will add that. Under this webinar is going to be the personal info of Loren, if also of Ira, if he will agree. But you can contact with her directly and have a 10 minutes.
You can contact Lauren directly because we work in a holistic manner.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're responsible
I'll
for the third
gatekeeper.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, with pleasure.
Okay.
But don't listen, guys. Set it up, okay? Because if you don't, you're not going to know. You got nothing to lose. There's no charge, there's no pressure. I'm here to help you figure out a way so that you can find your place here in the US, hopefully in Florida, where anti-Semitism is, thank God, pretty low. So.
Okay, Dana is going to be in touch with you. Thank you, Dana. Any more questions? Something that was not clear, something that you need to add, something that you want to clarify?
Maybe we'll ask
your chance.
additional question. Well, it's a personal question, but I guess Michael likes to share personal questions.
Okay.
Which is okay. I've got my own business, and the one who's going to invest and make all these activities, my son.
Okay.
And probably I will finance the beginning of his activity. And one of the things we thought is like to open a branch of my activity in the U.S. and say, okay,
what is your activity, please?
It's international business, trade, or
okay.
Yes, something like that.
Do you have employees?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. So yeah, that's definitely possible. We can do an E2 that way for sure. Absolutely. That's a more traditional path than real estate, but absolutely we can set up
But his
a
activity will
branch.
be real estate. I mean,
Okay,
he
investing in real estate, no problem.
yeah, and probably at the beginning he will start with the, you know, like the cover story will be probably it's a wrong wording. I apologize for that. But to be part of my business or my delegate, because I work a lot in Latin America, so Florida is
Yeah,
actually
where are
the.
you from?
I originally was born in Argentina, but
Argentina. I figured it was
I live
Argentina or
since
Venezuela.
50 years
Uh-huh.
already in Israel, so
Okay.
50 years
Uh-huh.
here. So opening a branch would be better. It would be better
It's
business.
not that it's better. It's really not about better. It's about like we can open a branch and get you an E2, or we can set up a real estate company and get you an E2. It's not about what's better, it's about what is for you the easiest process, right? So it really we set up a call and we can talk about what makes the most
All
sense
right.
for you and your
I,
son,
I
okay?
think it will be better to concentrate in real estate, not to
It's
mix.
always better to concentrate in real estate. You
Yeah.
know, I always, when I do my regular webinars, which today was a little different, I always talk about the fact that most people, a lot of people are pushed to buy a pizza shop or something ridiculous, and they don't want to. They want to buy real estate. And everybody, all the lawyers, like even Ira will tell you, most lawyers will say, you cannot do this. But I was determined. It was right at the end of COVID, and I had so many people coming to me saying, I buy real estate. I want a visa. How do I do it? And the lawyers kept saying you can't. And I said, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. But listen, let's be honest. Most lawyers, no offense, Ira, no offense to me, think in a box, right? And I
Very
was
true.
determined that I wasn't going to think in a box. I was determined that there had to be a way. And so I created it. That's really what it comes down to. So there's always a solution. Unless you're here legally, that's the only problem we can't necessarily overcome. But other than that, we're pretty much able to get you in the country.
So you have to enter legally and have like a legal presence in the United States in order to apply. You cannot like jump over the fence in
No,
Mexico
no,
and
no.
say, hey, I
No.
want to
Especially
open a
not in a couple of
pizza.
weeks.
I want to
Not
open
these
a pizza
days.
shop and
No,
let's have it.
no,
No
no
wetbacks.
pizza shops for us.
No
Okay.
wetbacks.
Okay, לא setbacks. אוקיי, איך שלבי התשלום, the payment method, חסן, is better
There's three
to contact.
phases. Everything is very clear. We take a deposit by credit card, and then the balance is paid in 3 installments.
אוקיי, 3 תשלומים, חסן, תיצור איתה קשר, ספר לה את הסיפור האישי שלך, ואני בטוח שהיא יכולה לעזור לך בהגשמת החלום, כמו שהיא עזרה לאחרים. שאלות נוספות חברים, היה וובינר מצוין, אחד היותר טובים, ובהחלט אחד היותר מעולים שממוקדים בוויזת T2, כי הרבה אנשים שרוצים להשקיע בנדלן ורוצים ככה לבנות עם זה עתיד, מחפשים את האופציה של הוויזת T2, ולורן פתחה לנו פה חלון למשהו חדש שאני לא שמעתי עליו. I'm just saying that you opened us a new window and
Yeah, I know. I can understand most. I just don't speak very well.
yeah, no, that was fine. Like we don't speak English well, also.
No, you do. You do. Believe
But we
me, you
understood
hear
you.
me speak Hebrew, you're going to be laughing.
No, that's fine. The Hebrew is the hardest language in the world. Like I need
It is.
Chinese, like it's go like right to
Yeah.
left. The
Yeah.
letters are not something that you can understand. It's not even Latin, but it is what it is.
It's okay.
Okay.
My son is pretty good. So if we need translation, I'll bring him in.
Yeah, that's fine. Everything was understood. עוד שאלות, חברים. מישהו רוצה לפתוח מיקרופונים, מישהו רוצה לשאול שאלה אישית אפילו, מקרה אישי, מישהו שרוצה לשתף משהו, זה הזמן. אם לא, אז אני אנעל את הוובינר הזה. תהיה הקלטה, כמו תמיד, בקורס, עם הפרטים המלאים של לורן. You can contact with Lauren. It's going to be a full recording of the webinar in our...
And you'll share the recording with me also, Michael, please.
Say what?
You'll share the recording with me too, please.
Yeah, I can share with you. I can send it to you to Dumble Mail, and you can get the recording, and you can do whatever you want with that. And you can have in our funny accent also. Okay, and
it's my favorite accent in the world. Thank you very much. I'll take it.
אין לך מבטא, יש לי מבטא, אין לך מבטא.
Ken, yes, exactly.
I'm still struggling.
No.
But yeah, I can share it with you. It's going to be a recording also on my YouTube channel, so more people can hear and learn about you. I got a referral from Zvir Meirovich that is using your services, and the moment I started to speaking with you, like I understood, like you're very knowledgeable, and you really want to come and express whatever you have to teach us about E2 visa, and I hope like my students are going to use your services in order to obtain a visa like that. חסן, עוד שאלה לפני שאנחנו סוגרים?
כן, רק...
One moment, just one moment. I want to say one thing first. Just one moment, if you would. I just want to say that one of the things I liked most about Michael is when we first connected, it was just instant, right? And he said, "Are you a Cohen from birth?" And I said, "Yes, I never changed my name." And he said, "Aha." And I said, so there was an instant trust, right? Because the Kohanim and all that. So I take that very much to heart. It doesn't happen a lot in business.
Yeah.
How can I help you? And what, Hassan?
חסן.
האם אפשר לעבוד? אני חושב שענתה לי, אבל אני לא הבנתי.
כן.
לעבוד עבודה חיצונית, כאילו, למשל החלטתי שחסר...
He's asking like while investing in real estate and have the E2 visa, can he work in other things like other occupancies?
No.
Do you have a
It has to be focused on real estate.
Do you have a wife,
but
Hassan?
Yes.
Okay, so then we can figure out one of you can work. and the
אשתך
other one-
יכולה לעבוד.
כן.
בסדר, אני מגיע, מתרגש כבר.
אתה צריך לעבוד בנדלן, ואשתך צריכה לעבוד, יכולה לעבוד...
Yeah, get her to
no,
work.
no,
Put her
no,
to
או
work.
ההפך. או אשתך,
Or, yeah, or
One or the other,
differently.
exactly.
הוא יהיה השם של אשתך, ואתה יכול לעבוד.
הוא יכול לעבוד בעבודה אחרת, כלשהי שלא קשורה דווקא לעיסוק שלו שהוא נדל"ן. That is not really related to real estate.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a great option to have more income, source of incomes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And especially if one of you is in tech, you can come here and get a job in tech, and the other one runs the business, and everybody's happy.
Yeah. That's the best option. Okay.
מצוין, תודה רבה.
תודה רבה לכם. Lauren, thank you for everything. I'm going to send you a recording through Jumbo Mail. Thank you, Ira, also. And
Pleasure. Nice to meet you, Michael.
okay, thank you. Happy
Thank
New
you,
Year.
everybody. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.